Hey guys, D.Bowie here, and these are the things that I learned with DC.Resolut1on's Ember Spirit at TI6. This game is pretty much the dream of any Ember player. Almost no hard lockdowns, and at the same time a Magnus, Void, Anti-Apparition, and Elder Titan to set up huge AoE combos. Since they are against a Lich, the first creep wave will definitely push. The best solution is to pull from the large camp to draw the creeps and avoid giving free experience to the Timbersaw. But Lich actually draws aggro towards another direction, making it impossible for Saxa to do it. Very crafty play by him. Here we see Ember doing something a lot of people forget to do. Timbersaw is indeed very hard and annoying to deal with, but if there is a time where you want to trade hits with a Timbersaw, it's when he's level 1, and you can see that he's trading pretty effectively against him, even though he's an Ember Spirit with low base damage. Another thing Rizzo does correctly here is not skilling anything. More often than not, players will get the third skill because, coupled with the disables from his supports, he can deal more damage than using the Searing Chains. But in this case, the lockdown from the chains was definitely more important and guarantees the kill.
First blood.
And had the Ember level 2, they would probably get a kill on the Timbersaw as well. This is usually the problem when putting Ember in a tri-lane. You definitely want to give him a safe lane, because he needs gold to be effective later on. But at the same time you lose part of his early aggressive side since his skill set scales pretty well and he won't have that much levels if he's sharing experience with 3 heroes. When playing heroes that need big items like Anti-Mage and Ember that need Battle Fury, people oftentimes sacrifice early regen, small items like Magic Wand, Poor Man's Shield, and in this clip we can definitely see why the PMS is good on him. Ember has pretty low armor for an agility hero, and without the PMS he would suffer a lot less hitting under the tower. And if he had to go back to heal after less hitting, the item was already more than worth his gold. Just a quick extra note, I talk a lot about the ranged creep in my channel, but just to reiterate, see how he had the chance to less hit either the ranged or melee creep and he chooses the ranged one? He gives more golden experience than the melee ones, in case you still didn't know. In this clip they get a kill on the Timbersaw. Since he was afraid of dying to the Timber and that the chains would get the creeps, he's forced to run towards the tower and use it in a suboptimal way, because you usually want to cancel the Timber chain with it. Anyway, they get the kill regardless, thanks to the Chilling Touch and the insight of using the salve while chasing the Timber to avoid dying, which is exactly what could have happened if he didn't use it. And in this clip we see how after some levels the matchup starts getting hard to deal with for the Ember Spirit. Especially considering he had shared a lot of experience in the beginning of the game. Usually people don't like going bottom on safe lane heroes, but there are a couple of safe lane carriers that can go bottom and they usually have a good way to go to the base and come back, like Kunkka, Ember and Morphling, or are very mobile like Slark, Weaver and Quap for instance. Aquila is very good on Ember, but he's a very mana hungry hero and oftentimes the mana regen is not enough, so the bottle helps a lot in that regard. In this clip they get another kill on the Timbersaw, and I have to give more props to the Timber than Resolution here, because he was not fast enough to use the Mango and interrupt the Timber chain, but since it was such a low range Timber chain, they reach him very fast and without creeps it's very easy for him to land the Searing Chains and guarantee the kill. After the kill he does something very unexpected, he goes back to base. A lot of players will try to be greedy and wait to get the level 6, but against the Timbersaw it's very easy to die if you're low HP, and I think he didn't brought a salve because after spending 700 gold in bottle, he wants to make full use of it. The Elder Titan was waiting for a good chance on killing the Timber, and I think Resso misplayed here. He uses the Searing Chains to guarantee that the stomp will hit, but the Timbersaw was not mid-animation for the Timber Chain, and he was seriously on top of the Spirit, so there's no way he dodges the stomp. By using the chains at that time, the Timber manages to run away. They do bait a lot of reaction from TNC, but they could have both lured them as well as got the kill. Oftentimes I refer to stacking and pulling the large camp, like Resolution does here, as a means to reset the creep equilibrium, and while that's true, doing this especially at this specific time frame has hidden reasons. Well, Timbersaw at this stage of the game can annoy the Ember a lot, and before he has the Fire Remnants, it can get pretty dangerous to land against him, but by trading the creeps and the stack, he knows that there's no way that the Timber will dive his tower to harass him while he last hits, which guarantees that he can get level 6 without giving the Timber a kill opportunity. The bottle also serves another purpose. Usually you don't want bottle with a safe lane hero because you will either lose less hits or the rune by getting there a little bit late. But since he actually pulled the large camp like that, the wave pushed really aggressively against the Timbersaw, so he's better getting the rune than trying to last hit far from his tower and close to the Timbersaw, which is very interesting and shows how conscious he is of the strength of the Timbersaw when they are 1 versus 1. In this clip he sees the Silencer coming, and again we see him showing a lot of respect towards the Timber, completely ignoring the creeps close to the tower. He knows that the Silencer doesn't have ult, and if he wanted, he could have placed a Fire Remnant very far back and tried his luck, but he doesn't want to risk it and just backs. While it's safer playing like that, the Silencer soon understands that they have vision in that area and dewards it, and he gives up on all those creeps, probably afraid of a smoke gang rotation from the Axe, which by the way went Vanguard instead of Blink, so until he actually spots it, there's definitely a good reason for him to be afraid of him missing at 8 minutes into the game.
Dire's top tower has been denied. Dire's is under attack.
And here we can see him baiting the Timber perfectly. He draws aggro from very far away to last hit far away from the Timber, and at the same time the Elder Titan was TPing bottom. He starts going on the Timber, but he doesn't overcommit, which gives the Timber confidence, but little did he know that the Ancient Apparition was level 6 already, and he ends up feeding. And now, he is able to take the tier 1 tower as well as finish his Boots of Travel, all of that without losing any farming time. Also, check how he uses a bottle charge right before going back to the Remnant to guarantee his full mana. It's pretty efficient to do it like that. There are 2 extra points I didn't mention about him going bottle that might make sense. Going bottle actually helps make the Alchemist game more difficult, since more runes will be contested by the Radiant heroes, as well as the regen from the bottle helps the Ember to keep his HP full almost every time, a good thing to have if the Axe rushed Blink Dagger to gank him. And again, we see him getting a bounty rune that could maybe go towards the Alchemist, even though he actually leaves it to the Magnus. And these bounty runes make a huge difference in the Radiance time. The Timbersaw had a lot of bad luck this game. He got baited tons of times, and well, AA is definitely a good counter to the hero and Alchemist as well. The Silencer also ends up wasting his ultimate since the AA had just enough time to lock in the position of the ult. But you can't underplay how Resolution respected the Timbersaw throughout the entire laning phase. It's natural for the Timber to be tempted to go on the Ember early on, and by always playing safe, he also makes the Timber go for plays he wouldn't go otherwise. And now he's able to use the Flame Guard on the stack he made earlier, while at the same time farming the lane. And check his mana usage. With the bottle and Boots of Travel, he doesn't care about using mana on neutral camps because he's very sustainable. And check this clip. He very carefully goes for the rune, afraid that they could have vision around the area, and with the haste he feels comfortable to go look for someone. And check how he does it. He first baits the Axe and uses the Searing Chains in a very calculated location to hit only the Axe. This baits time for the stomp, which actually buys time for another Searing Chains, and by Moon placing the Chronosphere perfectly, he's able to hit the Axe even during the Chronosphere, guaranteeing the kill. Even though the Axe went Vanguard first, being very tanky. I wasn't going to talk about it, but since you guys might find it strange, I think I should reiterate a particular point. In the No-Tail Juggernaut video, I mentioned that it wouldn't be a good idea to go Battle Fury when you have a Magnus on your team, and in this video Resolution is going Battle Fury. So what's the catch? Juggernaut is a very different hero from Ember Spirit. He can easily go different builds that don't require Battle Fury, and he can keep his farm and levels up with no problem. Ember, on the other hand, really needs the cleave damage to be useful and to scale his farm. I think that in the ultra late game, the Ember can sell his Battle Fury and depend only on the Empower if the team is coordinated enough, but early on he really needs the Battle Fury to be relevant. Maybe if the game was really hard, he could go for a different build like Manta or use Scepter first to be able to deal with the global silence, but that's not the case right now. The Ember finally rotates to another side of the map, and you can see that he's playing more careful now. He didn't place a Remnant close to his tower during the entire game, so understanding that some areas are more contested than others is a very good part of playing a good Ember. Resolution gets lucky, and even though the Silencer was around, he calmly Remnants back.
Killing spree.
You are no more.
Now that the Chronosphere is back and Magnus has more levels on Empower, DC feels confident to take more map control out of DC since they don't want the Alchemist getting too big. And what felt like a very clean tier 2 tower actually bites DC in the ass. The X starts, but it's not enough to kill the Faceless Void, and DC tried to turn it around. But the Global Silence was pretty on point. And they take both the Ember and the Void because of it. Hey guys, this is it for today. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more of this replay breakdown, please check the link in the description. I can't overstate how this video would never be possible without the huge help from the Pugna guys, so show them some love. And if you're new to my channel, please subscribe to it. I'm making videos like this almost every day, and I'm sure something here will spark your interest. Bye guys. And how does OG responds? They want to abuse the free lane to give the Shadow Demon a lot of levels early on. Sometimes people get too focused in punishing the junglers directly, while the supports could just go greedy themselves, and we see that Miracle is helping the SDE do just that. He starts less hating in an effort to slightly push the lane, and with the remaining creeps, the SDE is able to tank the jungle camp and farm it with level 1 Shadow Wave.
Smaller camp, so they didn't sentry the big ancient stack.
So Nico versus Moon, they were going at it in the top lane, so Nico will expend his first salve in attempts to push Moon back from this lane, and Moon has not really been iron taloning on the Bat Rider.
Might be worth picking up the stick for Snako too, as